Thank you, Sam, and hello and welcome to GB News Tonight with me, your host tonight, Martin Dorby. Now, astonishing scenes early today as residents of Crowborough in East Sussex, they took to the streets to protest against the government's decision to begin moving more than 500 illegal immigrants into army barracks in their constituency, with another site in Inverness in Scotland set to be used as well. Now, remember, this was, of course, the very site about which the Green Party deputy leader, Rachel Millward, said this.
Stories from the Home Office staff of the asylum seekers in other sites. They're talking about surgeons and doctors and lawyers, people who come from Eritrea or Afghanistan.
Yeah, no illegals in my backyard. What NIMBYs these people are now. We all knew these migrants entering the barracks were actually doctors, lawyers and surgeons. Well, the Home Secretary, beg your pardon, Shabana Mahmood, said this today. Illegal migration has been placing immense pressure on communities, and that is why we are removing the incentives that draw illegal migrants to Britain, closing asylum hotels that are blighting communities. But listen to this. She added, Crowborough is just the start. I will bring forward site after site until every asylum hotel is closed and returned to local communities. Now that begs the question. If Crowborough is merely the start, then it seems there is even more of this madness to come. Well, let's now go straight to my guest who's in the area. That is a local campaigner by the name of Gaz. Gaz, welcome to the show. GB News has been in your area all afternoon. You're there in the crucible of the action, as it were. There's a huge amount of confusion and frustration and anger in Crowborough because, let's face it, they were sneaked into this barracks in the middle of the night with a full police escort. You weren't told, you weren't consulted. How are you feeling?
Absolutely disgusted. I am disgusted with Wealdon Council, disgusted with the Home Office, and I absolutely feel for the Crowborough community. Been totally let down over the whole process for the last 12 weeks.
The whole point about this is that the Green councillor for your area initially was saying, well, they're all surgeons. They're all doctors. What are we afraid of? Soon did a U-turn when it was pointed out it would be in her constituency. But on the broader point, you're one of the organisers, I understand, Gaz, of the protest. Is this once again a feeling that the government is completely and utterly out of touch?
It's just been an abysmal thing from start to finish. As you say, there's no doctors, there's no nurses, there's nothing of any importance. They shouldn't be here. You know, they're moving in from hotels just into another problem, and it's a problem that's right on the borderline of our town, and we're not accepting it.
And Gaz, the point is, a lot of people don't understand that when they say an army barracks, it's actually an open site. There's no containment, there's no even fence, and it backs onto people's gardens where you live.
Exactly, there's a lot of residents down there. The site was initially used in 1954 for the army. That stopped in the 80s and that was turned over to the cadets. And obviously, as everyone knows by now, that they've been kicked out of the home that they've had for years. And it's absolutely disgusting. There's residents down there that are actually fearful now. They're getting no backing from the police, they're not getting any backing from the authorities. And the town are scared now. As you say, that they're not contained, they're free to roam as they wish, and it's just not good enough.
And it's worth pointing out, Gaz, as is the norm now, that the people in this centre, they're all men, they're all young men. And that gives people in your area a lot of concerns. What kind of concerns are residents telling you, Gaz, about these individuals being imported into your constituency?
Well, because they're unvetted. Nobody knows who they are. They don't know any of their history. And speaking to a lot of the residents like we do, there are people that want to pull their kids out of schools. There's women, there's people that don't want to go and walk their dogs anymore. There's minimal lighting down there. There's 2 bus stops right outside the camp. Now, there's a lot of parents which they've got to let their kids to go to school, whether it's Uckfield, Tunbridge Wells, Crowborough, and they're all fearful now. I don't blame them, because if you listen to other areas, Portsmouth, Crawley, they're all going through the same problem. And it doesn't matter what everyone says, it is a fact that the sexual attacks are on the increase and they are linked to the migrant population, and it's just not fair on the communities.
And Gaz, another point, we had a Conservative councillor on my show earlier on. Simple things, important things, like access to GP appointments. Of course, the residents on site will have a full en-suite healthcare service, but as I understand it, it's very difficult for residents such as yourself to even get a GP appointment.
they already can't get a GP appointment, so they've got absolutely no chance now. So it'll just be a case of they'll take priority. I mean, they've got their own medical centre on site, as well as all their facilities they need, and then the ordinary people here that need to get to a doctor can't do that now, so they'll be pushed to go to the hospitals, which puts even more pressure on them. You know, these are services that all the local community have paid for out of their taxes, and it's just being ripped away from them.
And Gaz, I can hear people honking their horns as they go past. We've been there all throughout the afternoon. There's huge local support. As I understand it, you guys aren't going anywhere. You're digging in. You're in for the long haul.
Absolutely not. We've been doing this for 12 weeks now out of nothing. The support of this town is amazing. You know, we've hit 4,000 people coming out on a Sunday, and that's through all weathers, through the snow, through the rain, and that is how much this town means to everybody here. Everybody is fearful, everybody's looking after each other, and I'll tell you one thing this has actually done for the good of the town is it's brought everyone together. You come out on a Sunday, and I'll challenge you to come down, come and join us, because you will make friends on the way. It's a fantastic bunch of people, and this is what it's all about. We brought everyone together, but it's all for the right reason, that everyone wants their families to be safe, and this just isn't good enough from, like I say, the government, who just don't care. Nobody's given us any sort of information. We've had to find it out from ourselves, and it's just a shocking state of affairs from top to bottom.
Gaz, thank you very much for joining us on this cold and dark night. Thanks for your passion. I appreciate that. I sincerely do. Best of luck to you, and thanks for your time tonight here on GB News Tonight. Well, I'm